Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Parent Solution, your one-stop shop for all things educational. This is episode 24 today, and this episode is geared towards the parents who may be looking around as the school year comes to an end and thinking, well, let's not repeat that sort of year, shall we? With the rise of alternative education, there are a lot of parents, more than you might originally think, that are turning towards alternative educational options. There's lots of options out there. Now, I've talked about this for sure on other podcasts that I've done, but increasingly, though, parents are hiring tutors or other qualified individuals, whether they want them to fully educate their children or partially educate or be involved in their learning somehow. So today, I'm sharing a few important things to keep in mind when it comes to hiring someone to educate your children. So realistically, you can hire a tutor anywhere these days, right? From any sort of company, or not even a company, but someone working independently. Well, of course, you can do anything you want, but it doesn't mean that you should. So there's some important things to keep in mind when it comes to hiring a tutor, the right one for your children. One of which is, of course, the price tag, but that's really not the most important one. There are a few other, what I would say are more important factors to consider when you're paying for such an academic service. Now, it's definitely not only about the paper qualifications either, for those of you who might be thinking that. Not all degrees are created equal. It can feel overwhelming, and a little bit confusing and slightly disheartening, to be honest, to try to find a tutor that suits all of the requirements that you need filled. So what I've done is I've taken a closer look at some hopefully helpful criteria that you can use to gain some clarity. My first one would be personality, whether someone's an introvert, an extrovert, whatever, it's personality. This is arguably the most important of any of the criteria I'm going to talk about today. Not every personality is going to fit every single student. Some students just will not click with certain tutors, and that's not anybody's fault in particular. It's just a matter of mixed personalities. Whatever personality suits your child best, you have to make sure that the tutor you choose meshes well with your child. Because here's the thing, kids are going to learn when they want to, and for them to want to learn, they have to like the person who they're working with. If you've hired a tutor to teach your child or another educational professional, they should inspire your child to learn. And inspiring someone to do anything is hard to do if they don't like who they're working with. My second point here would be qualifications. Paper does matter. Now, this can be a touchy subject, but it really does need to be addressed because I see it all the time. Tutoring is something that's very often done as a side gig, and so therefore it attracts all types of individuals. Now, not everyone has the academic qualifications to be a tutor. For example, if you're looking for a chemistry tutor, you at the very least need to look for someone who knows the subject matter and has paper proof, ideally some sort of degree from an accredited establishment. If you're looking for someone to teach your child how to read, presumably in English, you need someone with a specialized degree in the English language. So that chemistry tutor may be absolutely brilliant, but it's just not the right choice for your child because that's not what they are trained in. In a perfect world, you would also want the person who's teaching your child to have some sort of teaching credentials as well. Again, ideally a degree from some sort of accredited establishment. Now, teaching degrees are almost as costly as a down payment on a house these days, if not more so. So if someone doesn't have a teaching degree in particular, ask for experience instead. Some of the best tutors, in my personal experience and in things that I've seen, some of the best tutors are actually teachers in training, or it's those who have worked in numerous educational establishments, whatever those might look like. Paper doesn't mean everything, but it certainly is important. The third thing that I wanted to throw out as a tip for you guys, something to keep in mind as a criteria, is pay. Now, you get what you pay for, so this again can be a very touchy subject, and finances usually are. The temptation, as always and with anything, is to go with the lowest bidder. Or, maybe the second lowest. You definitely don't want to go with the most expensive on the market because, after all, the whole point of this is to save you money, right? Wrong. Nothing could be further from the truth. When it comes to education and to quality teaching, there really isn't a price tag that you can put on it. Now, I'm not suggesting that price doesn't matter at all and that you should hire the most expensive tutor out there just because they charge the most amount of money. Not at all. But hiring someone with the proper credentials who can give your child an unforgettable learning experience, who may be a more expensive rate than an individual who's offering bottom of the barrel prices, is going to be a better choice for you and your wallet and your child in the long run. If you think of it as the difference between paying someone to do the job versus paying someone to do the job well, all of a sudden pricing falls into place. The fourth thing that I wanted to provide as a tip is this sort of idea of a gut feeling or the right fit. The absolute most important thing about finding a tutor that's suited for your child is that sort of gut feeling that you get when you speak to them. Asking yourself questions about how you feel is important. Are you comfortable talking to them? Do they come across as professional, educated, and intelligent? And most importantly, are they representing traits that you would want your child to pick up on? Observe them working with your child. Ask questions for clarification about what and how they have worked with children in the past. Interview them. They should always be open and willing to answer questions. Another very important thing to think about when you're talking about your gut feeling is talking to your child. How does your child feel about working with this person? About learning with this person? For those of you looking to hire a tutor, I hope that these have been some helpful tips. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Parent Solution. I hope it's helped to provide a sense of clarity around the criteria you should be using when selecting an individual to inspire a lifelong drive for learning in your child. If you have any thoughts on this or some tips that you may find helpful that you think that we've missed, you can find us on social media or reach out through email.